All right. Greetings to each one of us, ladies and gentlemen. It is my belief that all of us had a nice day, even as we get to attack on this topic I've prepared for us today, right? Now, today, actually, it is not a topic. Today, I want to talk to us about how my journey with German language began, why I did choose German, and the truths about learning German that no one tells you. I'll be sharing the full detailed story how I began the journey of teaching German and how I ended up becoming a coach or a tutor and so on and so forth, right? So, you want to stick to the end because I guarantee by the end of this you will get the value needed even as you proceed in the pursuit of learning German, right? So even as you get to start, feel free to share in below. Which level are you currently in? Where are you studying German? How long have you studied? And so far, could you also share with us your story? How has the journey been personally for you? All right, feel free to give details because I love reading our stories, right? All right, then. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Frederick Onyango Ouma. I am from Kenya and I am the directing founder. I am the founding director. Directing founder. I am the founding director of the school Languages Tutors, which occasionally posts videos on TikTok and YouTube, etc. By God's grace, I happen to work with a very powerful team that which we handle together the classes, the German classes, and so on and so forth, right? So, the school is Languages Tutors, and we offer both online and physical classes, right? So, the story begins back in the year 2017. Back in the year 2017 is when my journey with the German began, right? Now, I remember when I was still back in high school, I really wanted to learn German. I don't know why I was specifically drawn to German. I would say it's because of the fact that one of my family member was also doing the German language, and this sparked some interest in me. All right. So even back in high school, I always said, after I'm done with my high school, I am going to pursue German as a career or as a language, right? So immediately I finished my high school, I jumped straight into the German language, right? And at the start when you're doing it, you're so passionate. You're all over the place. I want to go to Germany. I want to work as a pilot. I want to finish. I want to go and work there. So at start I didn't have a specific goal attached to my learning German. I just wanted to learn it. All right. Now, so that was back in 2017 when I began, and then luckily I was able to find a very, very nice school that is in Kisumu. Not only a good school, but also a mentor. She is the first who introduced me to language. And besides introducing me to language, I was able to interact with her. She's a very nice madam in Kisumu. She's the one who coached me, mentored me from the very beginning up until the higher or advanced levels, right? So immediately I joined the school, I was able to meet up with other partners or students who are also learning the German. And of course, as I said at start, you don't have a clear goal. So I was learning because, if somebody could ask me, why were you learning German? I could answer, I want to go there and work as a pilot, a social worker, So I didn't have like a clear goal. So I just learned it to quickly finish and go there and go to Germany and work, in whatever kind of job I would have found. All right. So I remember then that was 2017. I did in the first 3-4 months I was able to do A1, I cleared it, and then I proceeded straight to. So I did A1, cleared it, went to A2, cleared it, went to B1, cleared. So I was like on a roll. Now as I was continuing to learn, the mindset now also continues to change, right? Because at start you don't have a clue. So my mindset began to change slowly, slowly, and slowly, right? Now, as I was learning in the same school, the mentor that I had, the teacher that I had, gave me the opportunity to began. The problem with learning German is that you end up forgetting English and some rules, right? So, anyways, the teacher gave me the chance to begin tutoring and teaching the other students. All right. Now, why was I doing this? Well, I did that because I I was always hearing people complaining German is difficult, or you can't learn German, or German is for the chosen few, and such like things. So this sparked an interest in me, and I began working with various learners just to see their various experiences and expectations, right? So many gave out the excuses that German is difficult or German is for chosen few and such like things, right? So from my own experience, I realized, of course, at the beginning, one tends to face some difficulties, right? And someone was asking me, hey, when you were learning German, didn't you experience any tough topics? And I will tell you with all honesty, I did experience some tough topics, right? Like for me personally, I really had a challenge with the topics like, which are these types of, yeah, cases of nouns. That is at the beginning when I was in A1. I had a challenge in cases of nouns. I remember I also had a challenge in, this one, let me remember it. Yeah, relative pronouns, all right? And then I also had a challenge with hören, right? I know 90% of people tend to have challenge with hören. And have you realized every time you're about to do your hören paper, every time, I don't know if this is me, I'd like you to say also if you experience the same, yeah? You realize every time you're about to do your hören paper, suddenly there is noise everywhere, right? You just suddenly, it becomes very noisy. You hear the aeroplanes flying, cars moving carelessly, cows mooing. I don't know why, but when you're just quiet and doing other things, it's just tranquil and calm. But when I just decide I want to do my horn, pop, it completely gets very messy and noisy all around me. I don't know if this is just me back then, or if you guys also experienced the same, right? So these are some of the topics I struggled with when I was still in my A1, A2, as I proceeded in the learning. But I reached a turning point when I saw the character of the mentor who was teaching me back then. Now, this lady was not only committed to what she was doing, she was extremely consistent. And I know consistency becomes very boring, right? You can imagine doing the same thing over and over and over and over again without getting tired, without getting bored. So I realized from her hard work, she was not only hardworking, she was very committed, and she was very consistent. All right? So I took some of the characters from her: consistency, commitment, and obsessively focusing on one thing until you achieve it. The issue comes for many is when they tend to focus or they want to do a lot of things at once. But that consistency in doing one thing over and over and over again until you master it, all right? That really helped me with some of the topics that I was facing a challenge in. Cases of nouns became very easy for me. Relative pronouns became very easy for me. So these topics eventually became very easy for me because the mentor that I had, the teacher that I had, was continuously ensuring that I did practices. We call them Übungen. Okay, not once, not twice, but over and over. You can imagine doing that daily from Monday to Friday continuously until you get to grasp it. And that really helped me a lot in some of these topics that I struggled with, right? Right, now as I was able to go through the obstacles, I also realized that my other classmates were also going through the same challenge. And so I opted to help them grasp the topics that I also had a challenge in. Now I realized when I was helping them out, it became clearer to me, right? And I became very happy when I saw them that after a session, 1 or 2 sessions, they were now able to easily go through the topic, right? So it began sparking something in me, and that was specifically to simplify that process of learning. So anytime I could see someone struggle with the topic, I would go and read about it the entire night, and then tomorrow come and explain to the student how it is to be done, right? So the more I was able to help them out, the more I became happy, and I realized, teaching is all about helping the other person see something from a different angle that he or she is not able to see. That is teaching. And we always say that a teacher is a learner. You can't find a teacher who is not or has not been a learner. A good teacher definitely has to also be a good learner, as I always like to say. All right. So that is how I did. I cleared the A1, A2, B1, B2. I was able to also go through C1 and then eventually the C2. And by this time, my focus to go to German as a worker, social worker, or maybe pilot, or etc., those ones had now vanished, and I had now become so fully into teaching, all right? Because I realized that if I could help somebody shape their destiny, it gave me more joy than going to, over there and doing something else. And that is how I began fully teaching in the school that I did also learn. All right. This helped to shape the mission that we currently work on. Our mission is to simplify the process of learning German. If you check in most of our videos I've been sharing here, it is to simplify the process of learning German. All right. And that's why I do it extremely passionately. It is to show us that as long as one has committed to learning, whether it could be German, it could be Spanish, it could be French, it could be Indian, whatever the language, right? If you stay truly consistent and committed to it, it becomes very easy for you to learn it. But if I only look for excuses, because I could have chosen to look for excuses and say, I don't like doing homework, or it's too much work, etc. So at the end of it all, people will judge you only on two things. At the end of anything you're doing, right? I always like to say that people will only judge me on two things. I will either have a good excuse, and sometimes by that you have a very good excuse, right? Or a result. That's it. You will either have a good excuse or you will have a good result. There is no in between. All right. So that is how I was able to learn the language. That is how I was able to slowly move bit by bit until eventually I was also able to clear the levels and officially become a teacher, right? I would say if I was asked to change careers or anything like that, I would gladly choose again and again to become a teacher. I don't know why I like this so much, but I would gladly choose it over and over again. And as I said, the mission has always remained to be to simplify the process of learning German in helping us shape our destiny, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a brief sneak peek of how it all began. And I believe that this has also motivated you even as you proceed in your journey of learning the German language. Remember, as I always like to say, failures are part of the journey, right? There are some of us who are very afraid of failing. You don't know that even the greats, even like us, we had to first of all fail, right? But those of us, sometimes when they experience failure, they are doing a paper and then they get to fail. That is how they quit learning the language. You don't know that sometimes you have to go through the process. You have to fail. And sometimes the failure shapes you up, right? And then you get up, you continuously do it over and over again until you get to learn it. Now, before you proceed even with your learning German, I know some of you are proceeding, get to establish why are you learning it? Are you learning it for course to go and study over there? Are you learning it for passion? Are you learning it for... So what is your reason for learning? If you can't answer this, then it becomes difficult for you to stay rooted or motivated. So the first thing I would recommend, even as you proceed in learning, go and answer this question. Why are you learning the German language? Or why would you like to learn the German language? All right. And then after you are able to answer this, it will keep you motivated all through and through as you proceed in the journey of learning the language. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a short inspiration story of how I did it. I would like you to also go ahead and shape up your own story. Remember, at the end of the day, it's you to write down your story and so on and even so forth, all right? So, that was your friend speaking to us. Das ist alles für heute, and I'll be seeing us in the next one.